What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Building Wealth Show. Today we have a special guest named Kurt Mueller, and we're going to talk about how to pay and plan for college. Stay tuned. It's going to be great. Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Absolutely. So my name is Kurt Mueller. I'm a certified financial planner with an independent wealth management firm. I've been serving clients in financial planning for 9 years now. I live in North Augusta, South Carolina, married for 15 years, beautiful wife named Megan, and we have two boys, Drake and Gage, age 7 and 4.
All right. Sounds interesting. So you were telling me that you're in the finance world, you're a financial planner. Is that right?
That is correct. A certified financial planner.
So now what made you actually get into the finance world?
My own parents' lack of planning.
Okay.
And my desire to make sure that no one else ends up like them.
Okay. So now where do you think most students go wrong with planning for college or planning for anything in the finance niche?
That's a great question. I think just in general, I think where people go wrong in general when it comes to planning is they don't plan.
Okay.
They don't write it down, right? And so I think it's, when we talk about, planning for education, I think it's important, number one, and this is a little unconventional, but number one, you got to figure out, well, why is education important to you? Mm-hmm. Because it may not be, and that's okay. But finding out, okay, why is education important to me? And then taking that a step further and saying, okay, what am I willing to sacrifice to make sure that I can achieve that level of education, whatever it may be, undergrad, master's, doctorate, whatever.
Okay. So now, are student loans bad in college? Like, is it worth going $50,000 in debt for college? Do you believe?
Great question. In general, no, I don't. Unless, now let me say there's an asterisk there, unless you want to pursue a profession that requires you to have a college degree. For example, attorney, physician, those types of occupations, they require, you have to have an undergraduate degree. So, but frankly, I have an undergraduate degree that I don't use at all. It's political science, and I'm still paying off student loan debt because of that. So I take the approach that, I think college is sometimes forced, I can remember when I was in high school and I would go meet with my guidance counselor, the question was, where are you going to college? Not, what are you doing after high school?
Yeah.
It was already assumed. And so I think it's, again, to each their own. It's a decision that everyone has to make individually. But I know, like, in our area of the country, there's a lot of opportunity for skilled labor, welders and technicians and electricians that don't require a 4 or 6 or 8 year degree. And yet, they can come out making a very good living. And so the message that I have I actually am fortunate to be able to speak to 8th grade classes routinely around the area. And one of my messages is simply this: look, if you decide that college is not for you, then that's okay. But make sure you go learn a trade or a skill that someone's going to pay you for.
Yeah. Now,
that's really important.
Yeah. So I'm not even shedding a bad light on college itself, but do you believe there can be other alternatives, or do you believe like college is the way?
Without a doubt, there can absolutely be other alternatives. Like I said, like the technical schools.
Yeah.
2-year degrees there, associate degrees, medical coding is another example I just thought of that you just need. I think it's a 2-year certificate program or 1 year maybe. So there's plenty of other alternatives aside from just the formal college, route.
Yeah. Okay, so now, do you believe it's ever too late to go to college? Like, for example, like a 70-year-old going back to college. Do you ever feel like there's a time where you should just, stop?
No, I don't. I think that, me personally, I'm constantly, now I'm not back in college, but I'm always studying for some exam or some sort of certification.
Okay.
I'm a big believer in you have to be a lifelong learner. So if that means that, you find your passion in whatever, a 4-year undergraduate degree, then by all means, like, go get it.
Okay. So, so now, will student loans negatively affect your credit score? Because I always wondered that.
Not necessarily. So if you don't pay them back, they will, of course, right?
Okay.
Now, some, depending on how they are, if they're what's considered subsidized loans, and like for example, if you're in a rural area of the country and you're in healthcare, there are some occupations to where you can actually, if you, so long as you work at that rural hospital for
Hmm.
a set number of time, there are some instances where your loans will be forgiven.
Okay.
Now, be careful of that because typically what that means is that's considered taxable income when they are forgiven, right?
Hmm.
So, but as far as your question about credit score, the just generally speaking, student loans are not viewed as negatively as consumer debt.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
it still shows up, but it's not viewed like having credit card debt, right?
Okay. Okay. I see.
Um, but I would say that just like any other debt, if you don't pay it
Hmm.
on time,
That's
then
when it starts
yes,
to affect.
it will hurt your credit.
Okay. So now, what's some advice that you would give someone who's trying to pursue a career similar to yours?
Embrace rejection.
Okay. Why is
That's the
that?
very first thing I would say, because people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Hmm.
And I can be the smartest person in the entire world when it comes to financial planning, but if I'm a jerk, if I don't know how to communicate with people, if I don't know how to connect with people and build relationships, and most importantly, if I don't know how to guide people along and ask for the opportunity to earn their business,
Hmm.
then I won't make it in this career because there's about just to give you an idea, in the financial professional career, there's a 93 on average, a 93% attrition rate, which
Okay.
means, so to give you an idea what that means is if we had 100 advisors start today,
Hmm.
5 years from now, so February 5th, 2026, 7 would be left.
Wow. That's
So there's a
crazy.
very high attrition rate, and a lot of that has to do with rejection, right? And
Okay.
that goes back to just a basic human emotion that no one likes to feel rejected. And so,
Hmm.
anyone that wants to get in this career, the first thing I would tell them is learn all that you can learn about reading body language, effective
Hmm.
communication styles, but most importantly, make sure that you have extremely thick skin and you're
Yeah.
not afraid to hear no.
Okay. So now, are you like as a financial planner? Do you have clients come to you like through a website, or do you work like in the bank or
Oh,
etc.?
that's a great question. No, I don't work in the bank. I'm an independent advisor. So
Okay.
our firm is what's called in the eyes of the SEC a registered investment advisor,
Hmm.
and so we are not affiliated with a bank, an insurance company, an investment firm, or anything like that. And everybody's a little bit different, right? I have several friends that work inside a bank. I
Hmm.
personally am a very entrepreneurial, person.
Yeah.
You know, I I like to set my own schedule.
Hmm.
I don't answer to anyone. I don't have to go
Yeah.
into the office if I don't want to. That's just my style. But some
Hmm.
people don't like that. Some people want a salary. Some people want, to go to a bank, like you said, and they want to get, referrals from the teller or the commercial banker or whatever. It's just all really depends on what you want. I just don't like to be totally upfront. I don't like being
Yeah.
told what to do. So I like doing my own thing.
Yeah. So now, so did you start your own firm? Like, did you come together with some of your college buddies in the same major as you, and did you start your own, or you
No, I
just doing
didn't.
your
I
own?
actually was fortunate. So, to make a long story short, I have a good friend of mine who
Hmm.
is in his late 50s. He's been in this business for 30 plus years. And he left where he was after a very long time. And I did too, around the same time. And we all had always stayed in touch. And he called me and he said, "Hey, I'm starting up this firm and I'd like you to come along with us." And so I already knew everybody at the firm, all the partners. And
Hmm.
you know, I said, I like their setup. I like what they're trying to do and their vision. And so I've got, just to give you an idea of the business setup, I've got my own LLC under Apollon Wealth Management's, which is the
Okay.
RIA's name, under their umbrella.
Okay. That's great. Actually, it's very interesting. So
It
now,
is.
yeah. So now back to college. So when should someone actually start planning for college? Like, let's say their parents did not, set them a fund. When should someone actually start planning for college?
15 minutes ago. Again, now, if they're 10 or 12,
Hmm.
then they've really got to start like today, right? Because
Hmm.
especially with the cost of college is going up, I think on average 7% a year, and some
Wow.
places it's higher, right? So you can imagine 7% compounding every single year.
Yeah, that's a
That's
lot.
that's a lot.
It
So
is.
um, oftentimes, we'll have parents come in and say, well, my son or daughter is 13 and I want to start planning for college, and they can do that. I'm not saying it's
Hmm.
impossible. It's just you really have to be willing to commit a lot of financial resources on an
Yeah.
annual basis. I personally think that it's a dual approach, right? It's not only making the sacrifice to save for college, but it's also taking the time to identify what kind of grants are out there, what kind of scholarships are out there. There are literally thousands of different opportunities out there, whether it be grants or scholarships that most people don't even know about. And many times you're able to get that grant or scholarship because you're the only one that applied for it.
Wow. Yeah.
Now, granted, it takes a lot of work, and some of those scholarships are, $1,000, $2,000. So,
Yeah.
but they add up, right?
Yeah.
The other thing to consider is if you've got a desire to go into military service, or National Guard, even National Guard has programs where you serve 4 years and they'll pay for your whole
Hmm.
education.
Yeah.
So
You're right.
that's something to think about.
So now, do you do podcasting?
I do. I
You
absolutely
do.
do. Yes. As a matter of fact, I think that's how we got connected, actually.
Yeah, it is.
On
It
the
was in a group. I'm
on
not sure if you were just like being guest or if you actually did it. So now, what's your podcast name? Can you tell us a little bit about your podcast?
Yes. So it's the Financial and Leadership Intelligence with Purpose podcast, or FLIP for short.
So now, what?
And go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. You can go.
So just to kind of give you an idea, and your audience an idea, we talk about both the dynamic between financial planning and financial literacy and leadership, because I think there's a lot of similarities there. Most of my guests that come on the show, it is an interview format, very similar to your show. And most of my guests are business owners, entrepreneurs, community leaders in the Augusta, Georgia area as well. But I enjoy speaking with folks that do, a little bit unconventional, that think outside the box.
Hmm.
And most of them, like I said, are small business owners who have built a business from the ground up and understand the importance of, making sure their employees are educated from a financial literacy
Yeah.
standpoint, and they understand the importance of making sure that they themselves are practicing great leadership, uh, you
Hmm.
know, with those employees. So that was my harebrained idea back in October of 2019,
Yeah.
and I jumped in with both feet, probably like you did when you got launched your show.
Yeah. Wow, that's great and interesting. So now, how do you manage time from with as you are a financial planner with your clients, and also with podcasting in your family and any other activities you may have going on in your life?
I love that question. No one's ever asked me that question. That's a good one. How do I manage time? Well, let's see. First and foremost, I let go of the illusion that we have this thing called work-life balance. I
Hmm.
think I think it should be called work-life integration.
Okay. Why
That's
is that?
really, and so that's really what I focus on, right? And so to answer your question, I'm very calendar oriented. So if there is something I need to do, then I literally put it on my calendar. And so, as an example, if I know that I need to get a podcast edited, which I do myself, I literally treat that as if it's an appointment with a
Hmm.
client on my calendar, right? And so I think it's, at the end of the day, I just strongly believe in this saying, and that is, you're either going to make time or you're going to make excuses.
Oh, yeah, I heard that one before.
And I love that. So that's kind of my mantra.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. That's all the questions I have for you today. Do you have any questions?
No, that was great. I appreciate the time, and thank you for allowing me to come on the show.
All right, thank you too. Talk to you later.
All righty. Bye bye.
All right, thank you.